Hi, welcome to the Chop House podcast. Come on in. There's no need to take your shoes off here. I hope you've had a great day. For this episode of Ever Wonder, I wondered about the power of social media and the positive effects it can have on opening up futures in this modern online world. And to answer that question, I asked Inigo Hawkins to come onto the podcast and have a conversation about his recent experiences, endeavors, and growth on social media and how it's opened up opportunities in his future. I hope you enjoy. Welcome, Inigo.
If I'm gonna make a reel, I think of the idea and I make it. Literally went through race results and sort of like Instagram pictures and stuff, and found all of the teams that would the level that I thought I could be at.
How has the second half of your season been? You know, a lot has changed since that August, since the last time
Yeah,
we discussed.
lots happened. It's been a bit of a roller coaster, to be honest. It's on the bike. It's been quite hard. There haven't been many races that have been ideal for me as a climber. I obviously want to go uphill. So there have been quite a lot of flatter races. I've had some bad luck, but I've also had some fatigue. I sort of hit my peak, and I've sort of been on a downward curve since, and it's been quite hard. But I'm very positive. It's my first proper full Nat B season, so I'm being very realistic. I think it's been a really good learning experience. I've done. It's really good to get the racing legs, the racing miles in the legs, and learning tactics and all that sort of stuff. So I'm very happy. The results aren't quite what I would want them to be, but I'm not saying it's gone badly. I think I've got out
Yeah.
with it where I needed to.
And you've only just kind of acquired a coach, so were you kind of doing your own thing before then, kind of during this season,
Well,
or
yeah. So I've actually changed coach now.
change?
Originally I was coached by an Italian friend of mine, Filippo Fortin, who I was training with when I was out in Italy last year. He was really nice. He helped me out with the training when I was in Italy, and then I came back to the UK and I sent him a message saying, I mean, obviously, if you want to continue training me, please, that'd be great. But if you don't, I totally understand. And he was super keen. So he's pretty much coached me throughout the year, and it's been good. But it was a case of he didn't quite understand the UK scene, which is totally understandable given that he's not really ever raced here properly. Um, he didn't understand how the races worked, what happens like in the race, because Italian racing and you racing in Europe, as you all know well, is very
Yeah,
different from racing here. And there were just things like that, that the little not barriers, but it got to a point where I thought, well, because obviously next year I want to take a next step up, and I think that Cheto, I thought I'd change coach to to start that process basically.
yeah, very much. And where do you feel kind of having a specific kind of do you feel having a specific coach who's, I don't know if Pipo's got a qualification in you know, sports science or something like that, or is it's based on his career and what he's learned up to that point? Do you think going forward with someone who's got a degree in sports science will help you going forward?
Yeah, 100%. I'm really happy that the person I'm going with Max Stedman at Dutchy Coaching. I'm really happy that he's well, he what he says is backed up by science essentially, because as you're
Yeah,
saying, what people was going off was his coaching, his training career. I mean, he's been pro for something like 10 years, so he's very,
yeah,
very
of
experienced on
course,
the scene.
of
But
course.
and he has got a DS qualification. So I think he's gonna become a director when he retires at the end of next
Oh,
year.
very cool, very cool.
Um, which is cool. But
Yeah,
no like legitimate training qualifications.
yeah.
Whereas I think Max will help me a lot in that area. Um,
Yeah, because in this day and age, with all the science and the data and all the numbers that we see, you know, it's so crucial to be able to understand that bigger picture. And as you say, get the form. But at this level and this age, it's about keeping that form as high as possible for as long as possible. And it's not a case of really peaking anymore. It's just one massive peak across the season. And as you
yeah,
said, with the fatigue that you've seen, people have to remember that COVID. This is the first long season since COVID, first
Yeah.
full season since COVID. So it's you've done a good shift, and even though with that fatigue, you're still going on until October with the cancellation and change of Beaumont, but we'll get onto that later. And I know that the first time we talked, you you didn't end uni in kind of the best frame of mind with uni, but the life after uni, have you kind of, since we talked, been kind of more happy since then with the job that you've got, with the future that's coming up now, and all of that?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about what what is to come. This year has been it's been a tricky one. Yeah, as you say, I was not in the best frame of mind at the beginning. Up until I did my last exams for university, I was not in a very good headspace. I wasn't very happy. Even with the cycling, and I was riding a lot to try and combat it, because it's the best. Like, for me, is the best way to get out of that sort of that cycle, pun intended. But no, I think since university's ended, I've come to realize a couple of things. I've worked out a couple of things, and I feel I feel a lot more confident, a lot more happy, and yeah, I'm just excited about the future. And yeah, things like working on the long side as training is hard. Time management is obviously key to that, and yeah, obviously in an ideal world, I wouldn't want to be doing the job I'm doing, but it's by no means a bad job, and I know it's fine, and it well, funds my next year, my next year. So that it has to be what it has to be. So I'm
Yeah.
very content, very realistic. I'm not in the bad frame of mind that I was at the beginning of the year, for sure.
No, that's good to hear. It sounds like you're very grounded with where you are and where you want to go, and kind of how that part of your life in education's kind of come, and you go building for the future now. So that's incredible to hear from my point of view, and hopefully everyone else as well. So with that future that we've been talking about, you signed for Zappi Racing in Italy from July or June next year.
Yeah.
How excited is that for you? I know you're combining that love of Italy racing and kind of building that social media presence has really been kind of going forward what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Zap is such an exciting opportunity. I mean, it was a real tricky one for me. It was when I was looking at 2023 options in around August time. One of the first names that I wrote, got on a piece of paper. I literally went through race results, and sort of like Instagram pictures and stuff, and found all of the teams that would the level that I thought I could be at. um, Sort of pretty much similar to where I am now, sort of the continental level and just a bit below as well. And I wrote down on teams. One of the first teams to go on that list was Zappi. It's a team that I've heard of a lot of, and I've got a couple of friends who have been on the team this year as well. Um, and I've heard mixed. I've heard mixed reports. Every time I've told someone about Zappy, they've always said, "Oh, you got to watch out for this," and "Oh, this happens," and all that stuff. And I'm sure there are going to be negatives to this to join the team. That, I mean, it's never going to be completely perfect, but I think for me, it's the right thing to do. I want to be. The best thing for me is to get out of the UK, to get results in Europe. If I want to progress in the sport, I think it's really important to get European results over English ones. So I needed to prioritize that. There's obviously the English side to the team, so it is essentially English juniors or English under 23s and racing on the team, but it's all in Italy. I mean, as you know, I'm practically fluent in Italian, so it's the best of both worlds. And Flavio has been really kind to me. He's been really accommodating. I went and spoke to him in July when I was down there, when I was down in Italy, and he was really nice and really good. And it's just an opportunity that I'm so excited to get started. I think the possibilities are just endless.
Yeah, agreed, man. And I couldn't agree more with what you say about the European scene and where you're going with your fluency in Italian, especially. Um, I guess kind of those negatives that you briefly touched on were due to that panorama a few years ago that that was up on the BBC. But since then, people progress, and I'm sure they've improved the environment since that panorama, and yeah, have really moved forward. And you can see that this year with the results they got with like Matthew Kingston at the Giro out of that, and how they progress with the Brexit situation, and just moving forward like that. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm excited for what you're doing. But yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, as I say, everyone's had something to say about the team, but I'll be honest. I've been following them all year. On the social media, I've been looking at their race results, and it looks really good. It looks really good, and if
exactly.
hopefully contribute to that next year.
And if it's what you want it to be, then how if it's making you happy with that decision and excitement, you're going to make it as good as you want it to be anyway. So it doesn't matter what other people are saying. Um,
Yeah.
that's the best you can ask for.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the key things for Flavio that he told me was passion, passion for the sport. And I mean, that's something I've got in abundance. So, I want to turn up and basically just give everything for him, and hopefully it comes back to me. That's the
I'm sure you will, man. I'm sure you will. And with that, and with your previous coach in Italy as well, you've grown. You got a lot of content from when you were out there on your holiday. Let's say you've grown your profile about 110% since that in like 2 months, haven't you?
yeah.
What's the most noticeable difference that you've seen coming from that growth?
That's a very good question, actually. I haven't seen a massive amount of difference. I mean, I guess the one thing is that, and I always doesn't come across as too big headed, but my notifications every day, I
Ping,
just
ping, 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 ping.
yeah, I've had to I had to turn off likes, comments. I had to turn off all the notifications for
Oh
that 'cause
yeah,
my phone was just getting inundated. And like every time I open the app, I've got like I don't know, but if I open my notifications tab, there's just ping, as you say, ping, ping, ping.
yeah.
Um, and I mean, it's cool to see because it's something I've been. I mean, I say I've been at it for a fairly long time. I've probably been doing content on social media for maybe just over a year now, maybe a year and a half, and I think so. And but I'm very happy with how it's going. It's going really well. I've made some really good growth in the past, especially in the past 2 months. And but there's always space for more. There's always. I mean, I'm currently just up to 3,000 followers on Instagram, which is
Just,
made
just under, just
just
under.
well,
I'm gonna be specific because I can't have you beating me just quite yet. That's I can't get my head around that quite yet.
um,
Um,
but yeah. So that's so, like if you told me that at the beginning of the year, I'd been over the moon. I
yeah.
think because
What were
I
you at the start? Like what, 1,100 at the start of the year after our
well, yeah,
Christmas endeavors?
Christmas, I was at like 800 or something, I think,
Yeah,
700. And I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's really exciting to see it actually sort of starting to pay off. I mean, I worked quite hard at it. I spent a
oh,
fair
yeah.
bit of time like looking at algorithm and how looking on the Reels page at how other people have made their Reels and the audios are used and how they've used it and like how to get viewer attention and all this stuff. And
Mm.
I haven't by no means I've not perfected it at all, but I found my own way of making it work, and it's going well at the moment. So
There you go. That's all
well.
you can ask. Yeah, for sure. And have you got more opportunities from that growth? Because you're doing a lot more kind of 10% discounts here and there. You know, you've been doing a lot of those affiliate and discount codes.
Yeah, and that's another really good. That's a very good point actually. That's another change that I've had. I've been able to not feel like an imposter, like DMing brands to do like collaborations and stuff. It's really exciting. I mean, I was able to get a sponsorship deal with EFS Wheels actually for a friend, Gray, a mutual friend of ours, which was great. But that was when I was I didn't have the followers that I have now, should we say? But it's really exciting. I mean, now I have a deal with Enfuse, and they've been Enfuse Nutrition, and they've been really nice, really accommodating. Yeah, and I've got a discount code with them, Inigo 10 with a capital I, if anyone is interested.
Link down below.
Link down below. Um, but and that was I actually did that through my TikTok, which is roughly the same amount of followers, and yeah, it's really cool to be able to say that I can justify like sending messages to these brands to ask them to send them stuff to me because at the end of the
For
day,
sure.
cycling's an expensive sport, and you need
Yeah,
uh, yeah.
I agree. And you talked briefly about the algorithm. Have you got any tips and tricks for kind of understanding that? Any that you can give away, or are you keeping it very tight knitted?
No, I'm happy. I'm happy to talk about it. The algorithm fascinates me, and they're different. They're all different. The Facebook one, the Instagram one, the TikTok one. I'm
Let's
probably
keep it narrow to the Instagram one. Let's
you
keep it
know
narrow to the Instagram one. Yeah,
the Instagram one. I think is a little easier. The TikTok one is hard. The
yeah,
Instagram one is easier because it's very. It's very not obvious, but it's very in your face. You look at
yeah,
the reel page and it's there, and you can see the reels that work, and it's genuinely
yeah,
high quality camera footage. So you film with
yeah.
a DSLR or proper film camera. They always do well.
Hmm.
The wide angle, the fisheye lens on an iPhone is always does well. Um, Trending audios is the classic. That's the classic
Yeah.
cheat code for getting a good reel. But it's
I guess
uh,
setting up the visuals on the page, because what I've seen like the stories I've seen, because I've been getting into the stories, the reels I'm not touching for a very long time, but the stories, I guess it's about where you're looking at the phone and
yeah,
kind of where your eye falls to. I feel
yeah,
like if you put the thing at the top half of the screen, you see it more.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
stories I like to leave a bit more to my creativity. I think if people
yes,
are
yeah,
following me because they don't like my stories, then I don't think they should be following me in the first place. Because I want
yeah,
the stories to be where I do what I want.
yeah,
I put up what I like to put up, and I'm
yeah.
happy with. Or I want to say that I've done something, or I want to tell people to go and read this post. I want to. That's my place on the platform to be completely opaque, just say not opaque, transparent. Sorry,
Yeah.
and say exactly what I want to say. Reels, I have to. They're more targeted. I have to play more to the
Mm,
algorithm. I have to be
yeah.
more. I have to think about it a lot more. Um, Essentially,
So, what is the difference between TikTok and Instagram then?
it's a good question. I was posting regular TikToks before I was posting regular
Yeah,
Reels. So I would say that Reels are slightly BTEC version of TikTok.
yeah.
And
Well, Instagram are just trying to be TikTok, aren't they?
they absolutely are, and they did come to it second, and I still maintain that opinion that they are behind.
Yeah,
It's not the same experience. Flicking through Reels, I feel disconnected on my Reels page. I don't I don't feel like there's a trend here. It's just each individual video is
random.
yeah, they're random. They're good, but they're individual videos, and it's quite hard to explain. But on TikTok, I flick through the For You page, and there I can see the trends. I can see it's weird. I hear the sounds. I can see what is trending. I can see there's different storylines. I
Mm,
can see, for example, my For You page is built up of mainly there's some cycling content. There's some there's F1 content, and there's other just meme content, I guess
yeah,
you could say. And they're like three categories, and that's those I can flick through and watch the video and I know what's going on. Whereas on Reels, I could get a weird one about MotoGP or I don't know, I don't know, yeah, motorbikes, but
just
it's
something completely random. Yeah.
completely random and it doesn't add up quite as much. So
Mm,
I spend a lot more time on the For You page rather than the real page for that reason, really.
yeah. And when you said you started to blow up because you got two videos with a million views each, so that's a big blow up. And you said you had to turn off your likes and comments notifications. How do you manage kind of that side of it? Because obviously you've got the creator side, then you've got the consumption side, and then you've got the notification side. How do you deal with that notifications?
How do I deal with, as in when they come through? I mean,
Yeah.
I try not to pay too much attention. I'm not. I don't. I don't follow like counts. I don't know how many likes my videos have. I don't.
Hmm.
I follow the view counts. Because
Yes.
I think people go by likes, and I don't really understand why likes should be
It's
the
being seen, isn't it?
exactly, it's an impression. If I ever
Yeah,
go to a brand and say, "Can I promote your product?" They won't come to me and say how many likes you get. They'll say how many
yeah,
impressions you get. And if I get, if for example, I said, "Well, this video got 1 million impressions." The
yeah.
million, a
Wow.
million impressions is very valuable to a brand,
Yes,
whereas
exactly.
20,000 likes is cool, but you can't really quantify it because that could have
No.
500,000 views. It could have
Yes,
100,000 views, but it also could have 3 million. So I think the view count is much more important because it's how many eyes
agreed.
are on the screen, and that's
How many
more.
people know that? How many people know that name? And I guess that's why the following has gone up so much. Not the likes, but who's seen your name and be like, I want to see that content again.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah. And I mean, yeah, that's pretty much how I handle it. So I don't, as far as notifications go, I reply to comments when they are relevant. I get some
Yes.
spam content comments and like emoji comments and stuff. I ignore
Yeah.
that, but I reply to comments just to boost the video because interaction on the
Yeah.
video always boosts it. As you know.
Agreed. Yeah.
Um, but other than that, I don't pay much attention to the notifications as long as they're there. I'm not really
So
fussed.
have you switched them all off, or do you keep some on and some off?
I switch them all off.
All off.
I have messages come up, but
DMs. Yeah.
they're all off. If I want to know
Yeah.
what's going on, I go into my notifications
Yeah.
bit of the app
Part.
and
Yeah.
look there. But I don't know
Yeah.
what liked
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
any
Just
of them.
the messaging is the most important for that kind of
100%.
personality between the two people that are interacting on there, isn't it? You want to
Yeah,
keep that personability between them. And with, yeah, I mean, it is just impressive the growth that reels, and it's almost, you can see it directly with what's gone on and the way that Instagram have pushed the reels, where
yeah,
before it was a posting system. And, you know,
yeah,
when I was in 2019, when it very much was a posting system, I was getting a lot more back from just doing those regular good quality story like posts. Whereas now there's like zero.
well,
It just is not there. It just is not there.
yeah,
'Cause you've had that 110% growth. I've had a 1% growth in a month, 2 months, the same period. It's incredible how a small little change in coding can have this massive effect.
yeah. Absolutely, it's fascinating. It's been fascinating to watch. And it's just it's 100% partly luck. I mean, sometimes the
Yeah,
our
but you have looked at it though. When we last discussed, you were trying to figure it out. You didn't have an idea for it, but now you have an idea. You have a consistency with the success that you've seen.
yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, it's funny that it's really interesting that we had that conversation pre all of this sort of blowing up. I mean, I think I had 1 or 2 videos doing quite well when we talked last, but since then, I now have a better picture because the thing is, you don't know until something works. If when it's never working, you just have to keep trying different things, and it gets a bit frustrating because you sort of think, I'm doing all this stuff all the time. I'm trying this and I'm trying this and I'm trying this, and it's not working. And you obviously get more and more frustrated until something works. And then something works, you think, that's so obvious. Why didn't I do that in the
Yeah,
first place?
always
Um,
is. Hindsight is wonderful.
it's beautiful, yeah, exactly. And so, and then I've gone. Well, I've worked out the system, and just go from there. Really, um,
Yeah,
keep it simple. I don't try and think about it too much because obviously time on my phone is not never good. I mean, I want to
exactly.
minimize the time on the
You
screen.
you want to
Um,
be the creator. Like, I see phone time different to laptop time. Laptop time
yeah,
is functional. Phone time is wasting. So
yeah,
if I can do it on the laptop, then it's functional work because I'm not scrolling. I'm not wasting that time. What I'm doing there is bum bum bum.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And the problem is, if I'm gonna make a reel, I think of the idea and I make it and I put it in the drafts and then I post it at the time I want to post it, and that's it. I don't go back to it and I don't rethink it. I just get it done, get it out there because it's better to have. I think, in my opinion, it's better to have a video that you're like 75% happy with. It's okay, it's fine, it does the job. If it's out there on the thing, it ticks all your boxes rather than having it them all stored up in the drafts and building up backlog. because then you keep the consistency. Because I was really concerned about the quality. I wanted my TikTok channel to be more not spam content, but I would post 2 videos, 3 videos a day, and they'd be literally 5-minute jobs. I'd literally lip sync to an audio, put my caption, done, out, gone. Wouldn't think about it anymore. Whereas I wanted Instagram to be a bit more, not professional, but I wanted a bit more like aesthetic. I liked the idea of having it quite neat and tidy. And then, but it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working at all. That's pretty much what I was trying when we last spoke. And now I try still to keep it a little bit sort of clean, but I do post more, I guess you could call meme content, a bit like what Red posts, and it works. I basically adapted my meme content from TikTok and put it and then applied it to Reels because the humor on TikTok is very different to the humor on Reels. You have to be it's very much more slapstick on Reels. Has to be very much more obvious, essentially for the Americans. I'm not even joking. My my biggest country in my analytics is America, the United States. They love like just basic. Well, the Reels humor, just basic, easy to understand, you know, and they love it. They lap it up. So that's why I do on Instagram. Whereas on TikTok, it's a bit more niche.
And
You know.
I guess the most important question from it, because you do see it a lot, people doing this creator content, there's a lot of burnouts and stuff. Are you enjoying it at this point?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it right now. I've got I am very aware of burnout. I've watched a lot of YouTube in my time. Watched a lot of like cycling YouTube, especially like I mean we all know like Cameron Jeffers, Francis Cade, and they've all taken breaks in the past. They've all said right, I'm going to take a break, month off because I'm starting to burn out and stuff. And I've seen that, and I'm so far I'm a year and a half in, and I've not had an extended period of time where I'm fatigued and I like create and I haven't found a creative block yet. I haven't had a
Mm.
period where I just don't know what to do. There have been days where it's been hard, and there have been days, maybe 2 or 3 days, that I thought I just don't know what to do. But it always comes back. It always comes back, and I keep posting, and I keep going. And but the thing is, as soon as I stop enjoying it, as soon as I find that block, I will stop and I will take a break because it's not something I'm not going to just do it just for the sake of doing it because also it'll look like I'm doing it for the sake of doing it,
Yeah,
and that's the
the worst
opposite.
thing in the
So
world. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. So
Well,
I
that's
will.
good to hear from a friend's perspective, but just as a, just generally, that's what should happen, and that shouldn't have any pressure to carry on, no matter how big that following is. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's like yeah. I mean, I don't want to. I want I want to appease the people. No, I'm joking. But I want to. I do want to post the content, but as I say, I won't post if I don't want to. Um, that's totally fine. Um,
mm.
I just got into a habit. I just keep going. I just keep doing it, and I just sometimes if I don't post on Instagram for 2 or 3 days, it does. It's like a reminder on my phone in my brain. It
Mm.
says, "Hang on, you haven't posted a video," and it's not like a negative thing. It's like, "Oh yeah, I haven't done that." I,
Yeah. I
there's
mean, it's exciting to go and do it and do that work, and
it
yeah,
is. It's like I was reading about Amazon how they invested a stupid amount of money in the color of the buy now button. They thousands,
ah,
hundreds of
really,
thousands of pounds, like, the color of the buy now button, so that it was the most like susceptible to being clicked, so that you
right,
wanted to click that button, the best color to click that button, and it's meant to give you like a surge of like dopamine or something like that.
yeah,
And I'm not saying that it's obviously the post button on Instagram is different color, but I get that buzz still clicking post and seeing it load up on the page and it's there. Like, oh,
yeah,
nice, it's
yeah,
cool. Yeah. And then don't want to watch the video at all because I hate looking at my own video on the page because I find it really cringe. But
mm,
I get the buzz. I get the buzz basically.
mega. And the last thing on social media, because we've been ranting on it a long time, and there's just so much to dive into it, really, isn't there?
It's
What's
fascinating.
what's the most positive thing that you've seen come from social media in from your perspective?
Well, I can only speak to sort of personal experience, but
Yeah.
it comes down to connections and meeting people. There are people who I have connected with, messaged, talked to that I would not have known existed had I not got social media. Um, I mean, there are people that I message on a sort of weekly basis that I've never met in my life, and I treat them almost as they're just my mates really,
Mm.
and I can I have access. I could send a message to Bradley
This
Wiggins for the
person,
sake of
yes.
sake, sake of argument, and there's a chance he might be able to reply to me and give me advice on whatever question I was asking, and I think that is something that I'd say that's invaluable because it just opens so many much more opportunities for people really. I think.
Yeah, couldn't agree more there. And so, with the social media kind of done, you said you're fluent in Italian, yeah. And I was speaking to this on another episode of the Ever Wonder. Is what's the best thing about learning another language?
The best thing about learning another language, the actual physical learning of the language, or having another language in the locker.
Both.
About learning a language is
Let-
like
Let's have the language in the locker first. Let's have the end goal first.
having the language in the locker. It's such a nice feeling, and when it works, it's such a nice feeling. I the One of the things I can attribute to is when, for example, you're in a crowded room or you're watching the television and you flick the channels. For example, like you're on the sports page, and then suddenly a Serie A game from Italy comes up and it's the Italian commentator, and you've just watched. You literally the channel before was Luton against Burnley for the sake of argument, and then you flick to Juventus Roma, and you understand both. You can
Yeah.
hear Chris Kamara saying, "Oh, he's just
Oh,
passed the ball to that's right," and then he goes to the thing and you just it clicks. It's such a good feeling. It just means that it opens doors as well.
yeah.
It's so weird because it's something that I've been learning the language for what 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
I started about 5 years ago, maybe a little
Wow.
bit more, 5 years ago. And it's something when I started, I was like, oh, one day, I'm gonna have it. One day, I'm gonna know. And I would the past few years, I would go to Italy, or I'd read books, or I'd watch YouTube videos, and they were just like every third word. I think, oh, what does that mean? Why is that there? Don't understand the grammar of this. And I'm not, and I'm not saying that right now I'm literally like Italian fluent. I've still got work to do, of course, but pretty much I could get myself out of any situation. Always the way I phrase it. I could hold very intelligent conversation, no problem.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, it's just really nice to be able to to have that, just know that that's
Not have to
that.
force someone else to speak English. It's
Yeah.
just so
Oh, yeah.
nice.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. Absolutely.
do you think it's crucial to have to? Do you think it's required to live out there to be able to speak fluently, or can you do it in the English education system?
You can definitely get away with speaking English out in Italy. You can definitely get away with not knowing much
Yeah,
Italian.
I mean, as in
Oh,
learning Italian, in the process of learning, do you think that it's required to be in Italy, in the
oh,
culture, in the with the people, or is it possible to do it in the listening and reading avenue that English education takes it?
yeah, 100%. It's possible in the UK. It is possible. It is very hard though. Italian is a very tricky language to learn because the grammar is horrific. I'm sure Italian's that I did study French for a bit, but Italian's the only real language I've really like properly studied all the way through, and I can say the grammar is awful. It's got to be up there with some of the worst out there. Now, maybe
Really?
exaggerating.
Yeah.
As I say, I don't know any other languages, so I
Mm.
couldn't say. But just goes to show that you can do an Italian degree you can do a degree in Italian grammar in Italy, and the fact that Italians don't know their own grammar very well, they make the mistakes that I make.
Yeah.
Um,
And that is the
so
biggest lie, isn't it? You
yeah,
can't make mistakes in Europe because they don't accept mistakes. I don't know if that's, the same degree as like French. French, every time you're like, you cannot make a mistake. If you make a mistake, no one's going to understand you. And it's like, that's the
yeah,
biggest lie in the whole world.
yeah. In Italy, it's it's just so nice. It's the complete opposite. They love the fact that
Yeah.
you're trying. They
Yeah.
help you along the way. They want you to learn. They want you to
Yeah.
speak the language. They want you to be there. You know, if you make like 5 mistakes in 7 words, they're not. They're gonna know what you
Yeah.
intended.
It's
Um,
like English. You say the wrong word, we understand. And you're like, don't finish. We love that you're trying, but I understand what you're saying. This is how
yeah,
you say
yeah,
it. It's like
yeah,
it's so beautiful that someone else can speak two languages and the brain is wired up that way. And
yeah,
yeah, it's phenomenal.
yeah.
It's phenomenal.
No, yeah, it's really nice, and every new person that are Italian that I come across, and they see that they know I'm English. They could see me like 10 meters away, not hear a word I've said. They look at me, they know I'm English. It's like I don't. I'm assuming I just English people just are a little bit different, but they come up to and I've had it before where they just come and just start speaking in English to me. And that really actually does
Yeah.
annoy me a little bit.
At
But
least you start with that conversation in either French, Spanish, Italian, and then even if they stop you a sentence in, you've
yeah,
said you said a paragraph in French, so then you
yeah,
can
yeah.
speak English. It's like you've gained their respect a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 for sure, for sure. But yeah, no, it's really handy. It's nice to have. Hopefully, I haven't lost money of it before I go out there.
Oh, mate, it comes back so quickly. I thought I would have done the same over last winter, but I gained and progressed this year in French. Like
Yeah,
it's
oh, good.
incredible. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm sure with your 5 years experience, I've only been doing French for 2 years. If that happens to me, you're gonna be fine, mate. You'll be fine.
I hope so. I
Yeah,
hope so. Well,
you will be.
Flavio loved the fact that I spoke Italian because I
Yeah.
actually messaged him on Instagram first about asking to be on the team, and I messaged him in Italian, and I think he must have assumed I was just like using a translator, because then he then called me, and then like called me in Italian, and I just picked up the phone like in Italian, like with
You
my
were like,
accent,
yeah,
and he's like, "Oh, you
yeah,
actually Italian? Oh, nice. Oh, cool, cool," which was quite nice.
yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah. I think it's one of the best things that a human can do is be able to speak to, if not more.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's something that's grossly overlooked in the education system. We should speak more languages. I mean, the fact that
The
I
education
could be.
system, I think, is let's not start there because that could go on forever, man. That's a whole conversation.
I go to France, I go to Spain, I go to Germany, Denmark, wherever it may be. They all speak English, and why don't we speak at least one other language? I mean, French, I guess, is the classic language in the education system we learn.
But
But
even then, you can't. The best person in the class on the school trip will never be able to speak French.
yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. So why we should that there's a yeah, we need to
Yeah,
speak more languages, but
yeah, for
it's
sure. I
it is
think
what it is.
agreed there. But
Yeah.
like to bring it together with the main topic of this podcast, then you see like Instagram with no sorry with Peter Sagan. You know he was when he was on Bora Hansgrohe and Tinkoff, he was
Yeah,
speaking in his native tongue, but
yeah,
now he's gone to direct energy, total energy. Sorry, he's now doing that second paragraph in French.
yeah. I have seen that. Yeah,
Do you think that's worth you kind of looking at and doing what like a main paragraph in English and then a secondary one in Italian just to I don't
I
know.
would love. I would love to. I just worry. I have thought about that because one of the things as well. Actually, what I was thinking about with my Instagram. Actually, I was thinking about back at the beginning of the season was my brand, and I've spoken to quite a few people about their opinions on my what I post just as a baseline, to get an idea of what it looks like from the other side because I only know what it looks like when I
Yeah.
post it, and I have my own opinion of it. So I spoke to some people about it, and they said, "Yeah, no, it comes across that you do like Italy. Go over it."
And with that brand, you're building up that brand and that following. The logo is on the cards.
A logo. I mean, the thing is, I'm really lucky that I've got quite a unique name. And I want to do something with it, and I
Yeah.
haven't got anything. I see like clever. I really want like I really something I was thinking about this afternoon was a clever like take on my name, like when people make words out of their names.
Indigo.
Um, that is literally the bane of my existence. I cannot have
Yeah.
Indigo. Um,
Okay.
but
Have you got the tag as Inigo? Have you
I'm
got
I'm at Inigo Hawkings. Someone else has got that
ah
because I want
ah See,
I
that's the
want my
same with Tompi, mate. I want to get rid of ship the number, but
yeah.
someone's taken Tompi in 2015, and I don't know how to get it back.
Oh shit. Um,
Yeah.
So my name is just Inigo.
Mm.
My is Inigo Hawkings, but my name on Instagram is Inigo. My name on TikTok is just Inigo. I'm just that's so I want my first name to be my brand,
Yes.
but I need to. Yeah, I'm happy without a logo for now. I don't
Mm.
mass. Yeah. As things progress, if I get to like 10,000 followers and I start working with, I mean, I'm working with some cool brands right now, and I'm very happy with where I am. But if I get
Spreading that brand across different medias and all of that.
yeah, I'm right now. I'm in a good place, and I'm working with some cool people. But when I'm up at towards 10,000, maybe, and like and then on, when I start hopefully doing things for me, for example, I could start working with like a company like Specialized, or I don't know, Rafa, or like
Yeah.
those at that level of company. That's when I think I need to start thinking about having a brand. Um, but right now, I'm much more comfortable with being almost the opposite of a brand, being just me, just
Yeah.
me being the USP.
But you're
Um,
building that and
yeah,
slowly developing that future and keeping those doors open.
yeah, exactly. So I'm not. I'm always playing 3, 4 steps ahead. I'm always thinking about what's next. I'm always coming. I'm not sat here right now thinking just in the here and now. I'm
Uh,
always looking towards what's coming next, because world's moving so fast at the moment.
yeah.
You got to keep up.
For sure.
Yeah,
Do you
there's a
have your
long
to
plan.
be to keep present? Because
Oh yeah,
that's something
yeah,
that's on the route, like the on the what's the phrase on the cards in society at the moment. It's like be present. You got to be present. You got to be
yeah.
present. Um,
Yeah, exactly. You gotta live in the here and now. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm just going with what I know. I'm not. Yeah, I'm pretty much. Yeah, I'm very realistic. I know what I've done. I know what works now. I know where to go, and I'm thinking about the possibilities of the future. I'm not acting on them just yet because they're obviously in the future. But I'm very happy with what's happening at the moment, and yeah, onwards, upwards. Really.
awesome, awesome, mate. Well, that was an awesome chat. Thank you very much for coming on to the Chop House. Hope
No,
you enjoyed your time here for the second time between us, for the first time for everyone else. I
no,
hope that people are listening and learn a thing or two. But yeah, you got any closing thoughts from yourself?
I mean, it's just Inigo Tenant, Infuse Nutrition.
See, I might have
No,
to cut that out for YouTube ads. I don't know. I don't know.
no, honestly,
Yeah,
in all seriousness, thanks very much for having me on a second time. I really enjoyed our chat actually. It's really good to talk about this stuff because not many people are interested in it. So it's really good to have the chat, and thanks for having me on.
no problem, man. No problem.